The night was an obsidian shroud pierced only by the faint silver glow of a crescent moon hanging precariously in the sky. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, as though the world itself was holding its breath. Somewhere in the distance, a lone owl hooted, its cry echoing through the dense forest like a mournful warning. But Sarah didn't notice. Her boots crunched against the frost-kissed leaves as she trudged forward, her breath visible in the icy air. She was alone, or so she thought. It began as a faint hum, almost imperceptible, like the distant vibration of a tuning fork. Sarah paused, her heart skipping a beat. She tilted her head, straining to listen. The sound grew louder, more insistent, until it seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere all at once. Her skin prickled, and a cold sweat broke out on her forehead. She turned, her flashlight slicing through the darkness, but the beam revealed nothing but the skeletal trees and the endless void beyond. And then, the light appeared. It was blinding, a searing column of blue-white energy that descended from the heavens with a deafening roar. Sarah stumbled backward, her scream swallowed by the cacophony. The ground trembled beneath her feet, and she fell, her hands scraping against the rough earth. The light pulsed, throbbing like a living thing, and within its core she saw shapes, shadows moving with an otherworldly grace. Her mind screamed at her to run, but her body refused to obey. She was frozen, caught in the grip of a terror she couldn't comprehend. The light dimmed and the shapes solidified. They were tall, impossibly so, their forms sleek and metallic, reflecting the faint moonlight like liquid mercury. Their faces were smooth, featureless, save for two glowing orbs where their eyes should have been. They moved toward her, their movements fluid and precise, as though they were gliding rather than walking. Sarah's breath came in ragged gasps, her chest heaving as she scrambled back. One of the beings raised a hand, and she felt an invisible force grip her, lifting her off the ground as effortlessly as a leaf caught in a breeze. She struggled, her limbs flailing, but it was futile. The force held her suspended, immobile as the beings circled her like predators inspecting their prey. Their eyes, those glowing orbs, bore into her, and she felt a strange invasive pressure in her mind, as though they were sifting through her thoughts, her memories, her very soul. Panic surged through her, but she couldn't scream, couldn't move. She was utterly at their mercy. And then, without warning, the world dissolved into chaos. The forest erupted in a cacophony of sound and light, the trees swaying violently as though caught in a hurricane. The beings turned, their heads snapping toward the source of the disturbance. Sarah felt the force holding her weaken, and she dropped to the ground, her knees buckling beneath her. She looked up, her vision blurred, and saw a second light, this one golden and warm, descending from the sky. It was smaller, more contained, but no less powerful. From within its glow emerged a figure, humanoid but radiant, its form shimmering like starlight. The two forces clashed, their energies colliding in a burst of light and sound that sent shockwaves rippling through the air. Sarah shielded her face, her ears ringing as the battle raged around her. She didn't understand what was happening, didn't know who or what was fighting for her. All she knew was that she had to survive. As the golden figure gained the upper hand, the metallic beings retreated, their forms dissolving into the light as they ascended back into the sky. The forest fell silent once more, the only sound the faint rustle of leaves in the wind. The golden figure turned to her, its eyes filled with an ancient, knowing wisdom. It reached out a hand, and Sarah felt a warmth spread through her, calming her racing heart. "You are safe," it said, its voice resonating in her mind. But this is only the beginning. Before she could respond, the figure vanished, leaving her alone in the darkness. She stared at the spot where it had stood, her mind reeling. What had just happened? Who were those beings, and why had they come for her? The questions burned in her mind, but there were no answers. Only the lingering sense that her life had been irrevocably changed. She stood, her legs trembling, and began to walk, her footsteps echoing in the silent forest. The night stretched on, endless and unknowable, and Sarah knew one thing for certain. She was no longer alone in the universe.